Biometrics is very important topic today in the modern world, where there is a lot of identity theft. So governments of different countries work very hard to prevent identity theft. And basically biometrics is what we are, and more specifically the fingerprint information and the iris information of a person. Biometric research is important because every day in our life we have to deal with remembering a lot of passwords. So for example, one password for email, another for bank, another password for something else. So we're dealing with tens of passwords literally every day. And that's very challenging. We forgot those passwords or we write them somewhere and somebody can steal those passwords very easily. So the goal of the biometrics is to basically stand in front of the computing device, a computer, and the computer will recognize that as you based on what you are and the characteristics. So whether it's iris information or fingerprint or face, or in our case, eye movements. Unfortunately, both fingerprints and iris are very easy to fake. So you can take an image of the iris, present it to the system, and system identify that this is you. So what we do, we introduce very strong liveness detection capability, anti-spoofing capabilities to the system. And we do it by devising the muscular structure of the eye and the brain structure that is hidden from the camera, of course. So you cannot take a snapshot and recreate how the brain works and how the eye works. We made our technology work with existing iris recognition devices, but it would be very counterfeit resistant. So we are now we can move to the domain of, using this biometric technology better for more people, and it would be more secure and hopefully easier to use. I really like for my students to discover this potential in working with computers, understanding that they can positively change so much in the life of others.
Tired of fumbling for computer passwords? Weary of worrying that hackers might steal your identity? Well, get an eyeful of this.
Biometrics is a science that studies identification of a person based on what the person is, not based on what person remembers, such as a password.
With support from the National Science Foundation, computer scientist Oleg Komogortsev and a team at Texas State University are making identity recognition more secure, more reliable, and nearly impossible to fool or spoof.
For my technology to work together with iris recognition technology, you don't have to have new hardware. You just basically do the software upgrade, and now you have all that additional information, and so now you can do so much more.
Komogortsev and company are developing a three-layered, multi-biometric approach that incorporates dynamic eye tracking. In addition to scanning patterns in the iris, which is the colored part of the eye, their system also tracks the movement of the eye globe and its muscles and monitors how and where a person's brain focuses visual attention. That means tracking how the eyes move when watching action, like this video clip, as well as tracking subtle eye movements when looking at flashing dots on a computer screen. So it seems everyone looks at things just a little bit differently.
The iris can provide very fast screening, fast identification of a person, and our technology can identify if a person is trying to spoof the system.
Komogortsev didn't set out to be a biometrics guru. As a grad student working on a biomathematical model of the human eye, he was also an avid computer gamer. And he wanted access to a pre-release of Blizzard Entertainment's World of Warcraft. That was going to cost him $17,000.
So $17,000 was a fortune. So I really wanted to play that game, and I was doing already the eye movement research. So I wrote a proposal to Blizzard that said that I would allow disabled users who cannot use their arms to play the game. How? By moving their eyes.
And with that, ideas for new applications based on his modeling started flowing. He says multi-biometric systems like his will eventually pay off in ways far beyond gaming and computer security.
Now you can detect not only the identity of the person, but the state of the person, that being fatigue or stress, or if the person is, let's say, had alcohol. Plus, you can use this technology to detect concussions. For example, if now we would put this technology in the helmet of the football player.
So with these extra layers of security, are biometrics ready to go mainstream? I think the eyes have it. For Science Nation, I'm Miles O'Brien.
In many sci-fi and spy movies, you'll see a character gain access to something secret and dangerous by having their eyes' biomarkers scanned. But in the real world, iris scanning has been expensive and easy to fool. Dr. Oleg Komogortsev of Texas State University has found a novel way to increase the security of optical scanners while simultaneously bringing their costs down.
You're probably aware about the existence of iris recognition technology. Iris is a colored part of the eye, and iris recognition technology recognizes the pattern and identifies a person based on this pattern. Right now, biometric technology is very susceptible to counterfeits. So you can print out the iris on the piece of paper, or you can print an iris pattern on the contact lens, as they did, for example, in the movie Charlie's Angels. And you can enter the system with this information if you only have the iris recognition device. But with what we are proposing with this technology, because we are using also information about anatomical structures of the eye that are invisible, so it's impossible to take a snapshot, and we're also using the information from the brain of the people, those things are extremely hard to counterfeit.
Oleg's system goes beyond a simple iris scan.
So here you can see the eyeball that is controlled by a set of muscles that move the eyeball. So we have two pair of muscles that move the eyeball horizontally and two pair of muscles that move the eye vertically, and one more pair to do the torsional rotation. So what we have devised algorithms that are able to extract the properties of the tissues inside of the muscle, also properties of the tissues around the muscle, and properties of the tissues around the eye globe. Based on those characteristics, we can uniquely identify a person.
Dr. Komogortsev's team has not only found a way to make these biometric systems more secure, they've also been working on making them more affordable.
What I'm holding in my hands here is a commercial eye tracking unit. It costs approximately $25,000. It consists of two image sensors that concentrate on each eye of the person to get the eye positional information. To start our research, we worked with this unit to find out whether what we are proposing in biometrics is feasible. And we found that we did. So we started an endeavor of doing it with a much less expensive equipment. And we tried our technology with a different setup where we just took a common video camera and put it on this lamp stand. The camera itself cost $20 in contrast to this $25,000 equipment, but essentially it does the same thing.
And what made Oleg choose his quest for improving iris scanning security systems? Video games.
When I was a PhD student, I was enamored with World of Warcraft. So as you know, the World of Warcraft came out in 2004. At that time, everybody was super excited. I wrote a research proposal to Blizzard and sent it to the regular support account, never hoping that I get any response from them. But they contacted me back, and what I wrote, by the way, in the proposal, that I want disabled people to play World of Warcraft. So that way, let's say if somebody is handicapped or cannot move arms to play the game, they would be able to do it with eye movements. So Blizzard get back to me and they said that they were excited, and they basically sent me a beta account. So I played it for 1 month, and then I started realizing my project, so we realized it. Actually, the software is freely available from my website, and we also publish the research papers.
For Tech News Daily, I'm Francie Deep.
Your eyes may be the window into a lot more than just your soul. In fact, the way your eyes scan images is about as unique as your fingerprints and virtually impossible to replicate. Texas State University Assistant Professor Dr. Oleg Komogortsev and his team are studying the science behind eye movements, how they can identify a person or even detect brain disorders. Dr. Komogortsev's technology tracks how each person's eyes uniquely move in sequences over an image.
So with biometrics, you are identified by not what you remember, like a password, and not but what you have, like some identity card, but what you are. You can do interaction, you can do health state detection, stress detection, you can do concussion detection, and all those things because you're extracting so much information about the brain and what is happening inside of your eye.
Dr. Komogortsev's work, funded by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the National Science Foundation, and Google, is giving students at Texas State a chance to be engaged in cutting-edge research.
That's another thing, like you actually start learning about how the field works and what they do and the other opportunities that are in the computer science department besides programming.
And Dr. Komogortsev's research is leading the way in ocular biometrics.
So without exaggeration, the research that we are doing here is the only lab in the world that does it to that degree. I'm talking specifically about biometrics based on eye movement, so I consider us as a leading people in that field.
This real-world research is helping define Texas State, which is on its way to becoming a national research university, training and teaching the next generation of scientists to become a vibrant part of tomorrow's workforce.